fix this. Hey there, it's Mia Redrick here, the mom strategist. You know how you always have to fix your hair on Periscope. Good morning. I am Mia Redrick, the mom strategist, and I support mostly moms with life and business success. Now, this is a big call today. So if you know anyone that is an author, thinking about being an author, or maybe they're trying to debate how they want to publish their book, they need to be on this call. And I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to grab my notes. I'm going to encourage you to invite your friends because they need to be here. Good friends share. They need to be here on this call. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I am Mia Redrick. I'm the mom strategist. I support moms with life and business success. Let me try to fix my hair. I don't understand. Okay. And you can always check me out at miaredrick.com. Now, I've been a full-time coach for the last 13 years. Thank you so much, Camille, for sharing. Over 400 of my clients. I've worked with 400 clients, coaching clients. Over 112 of my clients are authors. Half of them are #1 Amazon bestsellers. Now, if you missed my scope the other day about different ways you can position your book to sell your book in creative ways, you need to catch it at katch.me, katch.me, and you'll be able to see that broadcast. It was really, really good. And I give you some unconventional tips of how you can position your book for sale. Now, today, I'm going to give you, let me pull my notes up. I'm going to give you 4 ways that maybe you haven't thought about taking that book that you have, and that's a self-published book specifically, 4 killer ways that you can position that book as a self-published author. And as you know, I am an author. I've written 4 books, all #1 Amazon bestsellers, and I've written 17 ebooks. And so one of the things that I'm committed to doing is supporting more entrepreneurs with having success, by giving them really the truth about, how you can, from the, take the ideas you have, position those ideas to be able to monetize them, maybe in some ways that you haven't thought about. So before I get started with the call and letting people get on here, I want to tell you some unconventional things that I've been able to do with my books over the years to kind of give you some ideas maybe you haven't thought of before. My very first book, I was thinking I had it here. My very first book, Time for Mommy, 5 Essential Strategies for a Mother's Self-Care, which is an Amazon #1 bestseller. When I wrote that book, I literally positioned that book with a brand, which was Panera Bread Corporation. That was my first brand partnership using my book. And you know how people tell you that in order for you to, one, get your book in a bookstore, that your book needs to be through a traditional publisher. That wasn't the case. All of my books are self-published, and I was able to get my books in the bookstore, in the bookstore, distributed on Amazon and a lot of national distribution channels. I was also able to position my book for sale. I'm sorry, what was the name of it again? Let me grab the book. Here it is. Here we go. Here you go. Snapshot. You can take a picture of it. Can you get it? So, Time for Mommy, 5 Essential Strategies for a Mother's Self-Care. All right. So I should disclaim, I'm from Baltimore, and sometimes we talk a little fast. Okay, so let me slow it down. All right. Okay. Here's the book. So when I wrote this book, the very first time, I decided when the book literally came from the self-publisher, my publisher, or my printer, I should say, I decided that I would pitch to a corporation. And at that time it was like a new author. I had only sold like 3 books, one to my mom, maybe my aunt, and I don't even know, maybe my husband. Okay. So really the book had not no one had really bought the book yet. And I pitched to a Fortune 100 company, which was Panera Bread Corporation, and landed my first partnership. And so I'm so passionate about making sure that if you are writing, you've written a book and maybe you're thinking about self-publishing, or maybe you've self-published that book and you haven't sold, many copies, it's likely because you have not learned unconventional ways to distribute the book, right? You don't know, you're thinking that because you've self-published the book that you can only take a small approach to the book. Maybe you've been told if you self-publish your book, you can't even get your book into bookstores, and that's not true. With that book, I did 40-some book signings in Barnes & Noble stores, literally in Barnes & Noble stores, and a lot of people don't know that self-published authors can do that. So you're going to love my scopes today. I want to pull up my notes just so that I don't miss anything. And I think I signed everything off. Okay. So welcome to The Scope. I'm going to tell you in a second. Welcome to The Scope. I am Mia Redrick. I'm the mom strategist, and I support moms with life and business success. Today's scope are four killer ways that you can position your self-published book. Like the reason that you should self-publish a book. Because a lot of times we're hearing like, I don't know if I self-publish my book, if I'm going to be able to have success, if I'm going to be able to have that book be marketed in ways that I need to be able to sell it. And that's usually the downside. One second. Let me grab my notes so I can do this in order for you guys. Because, one second. Okay. Welcome to the broadcast. All right. Here we go. So here's the number one reason, okay? 4 killer reasons to self-publish your book. You guys ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. I've only had 1 cup of coffee, guys. Bear with me. All right. The first is, I think one of the greatest reasons to self-publish a book is because you can position the release of the book. You can position the release of the book. A lot of times when you go with a traditional publisher, it can take them at least 18 months before you can even see your books in the bookstore. Whereas if you self-publish a book, you have more control over when the book can be released. I know that for me, typically, whenever I've self-published my books, usually within, 6 weeks of loading the file to the printer, the books are available, right? And up, usually at least online, and then also I can have physical copies of those books relatively quickly. So one of the number one reason that I like to self-publish is because then I can position the release of the book. Hey, Samir, good to see you. You're going to love this scope today. One of the reasons that I like to self-publish is because I can control when my book is going to be able to be released, and I don't have to wait a long period of time, 18 months to 24 months sometimes, if you're dealing with a traditional publisher. So if that's you, maybe you're weighing whether you would go with a traditional publisher or self-publishing publisher, and it really or self-publishing, and the only issue is, what are your goals? Like, if you want to get your message out there sooner, faster, and quicker, then it makes sense sometimes to go with a self-publishing option, because you can literally within 2 months have physical copies of your book. And to me, that's always been really great. Now, whenever I have marketed my books, typically I market my books along with some type of program or some type of movement as well. And, so I don't want to wait 18 months, because in the 18 months, I'm doing something completely different. Thank you guys so much for the hearts. I'm doing something completely different in my business. So one of the reasons that I love self-publishing, all my books are self-published, is because I literally like to build a platform around the book and then decide on a release date. And then I just begin to kind of work that platform strategically in order to sell the book. Okay. So that's the number one reason that, to me, self-publishing makes sense. You can control the release of your book, the release time of your book. Okay. You don't have to wait. The second reason is private labeling. So I know that some of you guys are like, what's private labeling? But what's kind of cool when you self-publish a book, and you can do this with a traditional publisher too also, but it's quicker when you are self-publishing the book, because you're the publisher when you're self-publishing, right? And so you have a lot of control. And so private labeling is cool because, like, for a book like this, let's say if I wanted to private label this book and I decided to work with a brand, which is, I'll talk about that in a minute, then I could say that this book is brought to you by, and I could put the name of the company that the book is brought to you by. And I love being able to do that so quickly in the self-publishing process. I can literally take my book and divide this book into a lot of different types of content for a brand and private label it to be able to monetize it. And if you didn't catch my scope the other day about, different ways to position your book for sale, you need to see that those videos on KATCH.me, because I really break down like different ways that my clients have over the years positioned and sold their books. A lot of different ways with corporate brands. But private labeling is something that happens all day, every day with content, with books just like this. And that's one of the reasons that I like to self-publish, because I can easily do that, okay? I do not know Ray Lewis, okay? I do not know Ray Lewis. Okay, but we do have Ray Lewis actually on our wall. We have a fat head of Ray Lewis. Okay, okay. The third reason that self-publishing makes sense, right, is because of the ability to partner quicker. Now, this has been the way that I've positioned my books over the years, is that I've always written a book and then chosen a partner to distribute the book. So I believe that when you decide that you're going to self-publish the book, number 52, when you are when you make this decision to self-publish the book, one of the things you have to understand is that you're responsible for the marketing of that book, or the method of distributing that book. How are you going to distribute that book and get it out to a lot of people? So I've always come up with one-to-many strategies by working with brands, by selling my book in bulk. And one of the ways to do that is by partnering, right? So partnering with a large corporate brand or an agency, a community organization that needs your book in bulk. And to me, when I am self-publishing, I like to do it because I can control the price so much easier. So let me give you an example. I don't want to say the name of the company, but there was a company that I pitched to buy my book, okay? And the unit cost for my book was $3.50. For one of the books is $3.50 a unit. All right. And they wanted to be able to give the book to their audience of moms, and they wanted to pay me, the book retails for $14.99. So they wanted to pay me like $9 and whatever it was. So let's make it even, $3, $9. Okay. So in essence, I would make $6 from each of the books, right, that are sold. But what was cool was if I negotiated with them to be able to, let's say, instead of selling 2,000 books, get them to sell 5,000 books, I could also lower the price or play with the numbers in a way that would allow me, one, to reach a larger demographic within their demographic. And because I'm self-publishing, I have a lot more control with the price. There's no one in the middle. Is that making sense to you guys? Okay. So I've always really liked being able to self-publish, because whenever I'm negotiating with and partnering with a brand, I have more control over the price. I can lower the price if I need to, and to distribute more books because I can, because there's no one else in the middle. And the other coolest part is that depending on who you decide to self-publish with, who you decide to print with, you can also typically, once you get over like 1,000 or 2,500 or 5,000 in terms of units, your prices start to drop. So meaning it's costing me less. It's not costing me $3.50 a unit for my book. It might now be costing me $2 a book, and I'm making a lot more profit than I would if I were dealing with a traditional publisher. I have a good friend who decided to publish with Simon & Schuster, great company, but she was so happy because Simon & Schuster, reputable name, great traditional publisher, and the fact of the matter is she made $1.25 per book, whereas I was making $10 a book. So to me, I like to self-publish because I have a lot more control over the price. That I can make a lot more money. I have the ability to make more profit from a sale, okay? And I have a lot more control over the price of the book when I'm negotiating and partnering with a brand. Does that make sense? Okay? Is that clear to you guys? Somebody let me know. Okay? Somebody let me know. Any questions about what I just said? Okay, that's clear. And pricing is so key, because when you are working with a brand, or let's say you're going to sell, if you look at my scope from the other day, you know that I talk a great deal about selling your book in bulk, right? One to many, not one to one, because it's hard to make money as an author just selling the book, and making $10 each, What you want is a strategy that allows you to sell your book one to many. And to do that, one of the things that I like to do is to pitch to corporations, to brands, right, to organizations that strategically need my book or my content to be able to, reach their demographic. And this allows me a strategy to monetize my book. And I have found over the years that being a self-published author has allowed me to be able to move really quickly when I'm negotiating a deal. It's sort of like, even if I'm dealing with a corporate brand and they might say they like this book like this, right? They might like it in its full form, right? All 200 pages. Or they might say, well, you know what, Mia, we want a smaller version of that book, and bam, I can instantly begin to, reduce the size of the book and get it out to them within 6 weeks. And I don't have a whole lot of politics in between that or people I need to talk to because I'm the publisher. And to me, having control when you are an author, to be able to negotiate like that and get deals done and get the samples into the brands allows you to close the transactions sooner, quicker, faster. And I'm not saying you can't do that with a traditional publisher, because I have some that do that. It's just that it's more political, and a lot of times you make a lot less money. So for me, I have 4 books, all #1 Amazon bestsellers, and all of them I've self-published, all of them because of that, because I typically will work with a brand to position the sales of my book, and I'm not trying to sell them one-to-one, and I usually create a platform around the book. Control is everything, and control your pocketbook, right? Well, I mean, control is significant, I think, for a lot of self-published authors. The reason they don't make money is because they don't have a strategy behind how they're going to make money. They don't have a platform that goes along with their book. So they expect just because you've written a book, you're going to sell it, you're going to put it on your website, and people are going to buy it. And it doesn't work like that. The way that you sell a book is you've got to create a movement around the book. You've got to have a platform that allows you to be able to sell it. Like, whether you're coaching clients and it's a tool for them, or whether you are working with a brand, selling your book in bulk because they need to be able to give away your message at expos or to their target demographic in some way. It supports them. So does that make sense? Did this support you guys? I'll wait. Did this support you guys? Okay. Okay, hey Camille, good to see you. And I wanted to make sure I did this scope because last night Carl was on the scope. He's a guy, and he said to me, he was like, what about the guys? I've got a question about self-publishing. Why should I self-publish or not? And I believe he was 2 days away from completing his book, and he's trying to decide, should I do a traditional publisher or should I do should I self-publish? What I typically recommend, would you suggest a strategist help? Yes. Okay, of course I would recommend that. Let me address this really quickly before I forget. All right. When you are thinking about publishing your book, you're talking about your options are you can use a traditional publisher, right, which is what we're familiar with, usually 18 to 24 months before your book is in stores, okay? And you got to keep in mind that the shelf space within stores is very limited. So your book's got to be really good and you're competing. And, in 18 and 24 months, I'm not even really sure 18, 24 months from now, what I'm going to be doing. So when I've written a book, I want it out within 6 to 9 months. That's one of the reasons that I like to self-publish, my books. The other option that you have, which I recommend greatly, is to use an entrepreneurial publisher. And my favorite entrepreneurial publisher is Morgan James. So Morgan James is great. They're an entrepreneurial publisher. And what that means is they have the ability typically to get your book out through traditional distribution channels in bookstores, but they can do a little faster, about usually within 12 months. So that's kind of cool. Like within a year, they can get your book, into bookstores. So that's another option for you if you don't want to do self-publishing. And Morgan James is great too because they will do some marketing. Morgan James, yes. They will do some marketing for you as well, and you would meet also with their sales team. So they do some marketing, some of the traditional things that a traditional publisher would do, but it's a great option for you also if you were thinking about self-publishing as well. And I love them. They're really great. One of my clients is using them. Do I have her book? I thought I had it, but I don't have it close by, but Lisa Larder. Thought I had it. Here we go. This is her book. Lisa Lauder is published with Morgan James. It's a gorgeous book, and they're a great publisher, and their work is great. And they've got a lot of authors that have been New York Times #1 bestseller. So I would suggest that platform if, in fact, you are an established author. You've got an established platform. Well, you're an established, business, and you've got an established platform, and you're looking for mass distribution. You're ready to get in the stores. You're ready to be everywhere fast, soon, quick, and you can handle that. And then self-publishing. I've self-published all of my books and had great success with them, but each book I have aligned with a platform to be able to sell the books. And that's what I recommend. If you're going to be a self-published author, you've got to think about, how do you want to, what's your marketing campaign to be able to move that book? And what's your movement around that book? How are you going to be able to, get in front of your target audience? And I think one of the best ways to do that is by working with brands, corporate brands to do that, right? That need your message. All right. So you need to think about that. Are there any questions for me? There was one question that you just asked me, and let me think. What did you ask me? Do I recommend that you work with someone? Yes. Well, I'm Mia Redrick. I'm the mom strategist, and I support mostly moms with life and business success. I have worked with over 400 coaching clients in the last 13 years. 112 of my clients are authors, and half of them are #1 Amazon bestsellers. I do. I think that's the shortest, quickest way to be able to position your book for success. Now, sometimes people hire me because they are looking for me to support them around finding companies that they can pitch to so that they can sell their book in bulk. Sometimes people hire me so that I can support them with coming up with the movement around the book might look like. All right. Because I believe that when you are thinking about marketing the book, it's before the book is released. Like we can literally strategically position the book for sales with certain brands, in advance, which I think is so important. Sometimes clients come to me because they want to write a book and they haven't been able to write a book on their own, although they're sharp and they're smart, right? And they're willing to make an investment in having a ghostwriting team do it. And I offer a service, write your book without picking up a pen, to clients who want to do that. Now, sometimes people come to me because they just want my company to do the cover and the layouts professionally for their books, because one of the things that I teach my clients is that if you ever want to get your book in a bookstore, if your cover and your layout sucks, you don't have a chance. Barnes & Noble will never put your book in a bookstore if your covers don't look great. So the way that you can reach me, I'm going to give you my personal email address is, ready? Is Mia, M-I-A, _ Redrick, R-E-D-R-I-C-K. That's Mia, M-I-A, _ Yeah, Nicole, you are the bomb. You know what, Nicole? I love you, right? So I have like the best people who I get to connect with here on Periscope. Nicole, thank you so much for putting that there. Mia, you are on time all day, every day, and I appreciate you guys. And thank you guys so much for the hearts. I mean, at least now we get to see 2 colors, right? Maybe 3 colors. That's nice. But what I want to do is support more, more people with understanding that your content is what will allow you to be free as a full-time entrepreneur. And if you've never thought about writing a book or taking an ebook and selling an ebook, because you can write a book that's like a paperback or a hardback book, but you don't have to do that. You can also just write an ebook. And you guys know that have been following me that my very first product was an ebook. I wrote, Mia _ Redrick at findingdefinitions.com. Did I take a break yesterday? No, I didn't take a break yesterday. I woke up late yesterday because my mom was sick, and I had decided that, and my dog was sick, and my son was sick this week. So I decided that I would sleep in. So that was my break on yesterday. And then I scoped last night. It was a great scope. It was a packed house. And I scoped yesterday morning also. And I can't even remember what I taught about, but it was good. So you need to check it out if you missed me, okay? But you can take your ebook. You can take an ebook and you can monetize an ebook. My first product was an ebook. I made $88,000 from a 40-page ebook that I outsourced and had somebody else ghostwrite for me for $150. And so if you are thinking, hey, I've always wanted to write a book, and you're stuck on that, you don't have to be stuck on it. You need to outsource it and have somebody else write that book for you so that you can move on with a monetization strategy. Creating content is king. Brands want content. They want physical books. They want ebooks, and people want to know what you know. And so, don't take that for granted. So again, I'm Mia Redrick. I'm the mom strategist. I support moms with life and business success. I'm teaching a live class here in Baltimore today about how to set up your year, today and tomorrow, how to set up your year. So I wanted to hop on. Don't be neglecting us. Oh, wow, I will. I guess I really took a break. You must have taken a break from Periscope, Nicole, because I think my notifications are not working. And so sometimes people don't know that I'm on the scope, but it's all on catch.me. You can see what I was talking about the last couple of days. There were some great topics also as well. Did this scope support you guys? Are there any questions that you have for me? So for those of you who have just joined me, there are essentially four things that I shared on 4 killer reasons that you need to self-publish your book. The first is because you can position the release. You can determine when the book can come out. And if you go with a traditional publisher, it's going to be 18 to 24 months. You don't really have a lot of control over that. If you choose an entrepreneurial publisher like Morgan James, the book can come out within 12 months. If you self-publish, usually within 2 months of the time you load the file, the book will be out. You can position your release, yes. Number 2 is, thank you, Nicole, for that, is private labeling. Now, private labeling is something that I love to do as a self-published author. What it means is that I've written a book, and that book, right, my book could be brought to you by, and it could be a brand that wants to bring this book to their demographic and pay me for that, okay? And that's kind of cool. So I like to sell books one to many. And number 3 is partnering. Again, you can partner with a brand, right? And that is one of the best ways, is to find partners who want your message and get your message and pay you for that message to get in front of their audience. Now, they might buy the book directly. They might pay you to speak to their audience. They might want you to give your book away at expos or have you sign and autograph books. See, I love all of that. That to me is so cool. And the last is pricing. Like, to me, when you're self-publishing a book, number 4 is pricing. You have control over the price. Like, when I'm negotiating with a brand and I see an opportunity to get, maybe go from 2,500 books to 5,000 books, I can negotiate the price a lot better because I control the price. There's no middleman, and that I really love. And that's really served me tremendously in, being a self-published author. It's one of the reasons that I have not switched and gone over to the other side, because I can control pricing. And I know my friends who are with traditional publishers, they really can't. So did that support you guys? Right? It took the whole scope for me to get my hair right. I don't understand. Okay. All right. Were there any questions for me? Any of my self-published, anybody already self-published a book with questions? Or anybody thinking about self-publishing a book that has a question that I didn't answer for you today? The floor is open. I always like to open. How do you identify a printer? That's a great question. See, I love that question, Nicole. All right. The way that you identify a printer is, one of the things you want to look for are your goals. Like, what I like to look for are companies that are what we call print on demand. So POD companies. So you might want to, Google print on demand published printers. So print on demand printers. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Like, you can get someone to self-publish your book. You can go to a company and they will self-publish your book. However, through Author House, he's print on demand. Print on demand is great because you don't have to stockpile books. And a lot of times when you are when you're self-publishing, you don't want to have like a bunch of books in your basement, okay? Right? You don't want the books in your garage, right? So what I like about print-on-demand companies is that if you need one book, you order one book. If you need 100 books, you order 100 books. So literally you're printing as there is demand, and you don't have to, stockpile and buy a bunch of books. And a lot of times authors don't have, I'm trying to fix my hair, right? Authors don't have the resources to be able to buy their books like that up front. So that's what I recommend. It's a print-on-demand company. There are lots of them out there. You want to always check the splits. Some of them have, different splits that, like a certain number of books you have to buy, and then your price drops after that. Almost all of them offer that, but some are better than others. So I would just compare 3 to 5 side by side and see which ones you like. And the other thing I would recommend, yes, for my Core Mom coaching clients, yes, Samir, I'll post it inside Core Moms, okay? Inside the portal, the ones that I recommend the most, okay? But I will say that one of the things that you want to do is put them side by side, and then so you can check. And the other thing you want to do is order copies of the book. Google print on demand. That's right. And they allow you to print the number of books that you need. Absolutely. What you want to do is also any place that you're thinking about using, order their books. Have them. They'll give you free samples, and they'll let you see the quality of the book. And a lot of times I meet people who have self-published. They never, ever actually saw the copies of the book before they chose the printer. What? So you want to make sure. That's why I don't recommend on this Periscope, who I use, because I tell my clients that. But I want you guys to do work, right? You got to just order the books and go look at the books and see which ones you like. You keep some secrets for core moms. I keep a lot of secrets for core moms, right? There's just a lot that you can share. So, but I totally always want to give it up for people who are here on the scope, so that a lot of times you've not had an opportunity to talk to a coach. That is true. It's understandable, right? You haven't had time to talk to a coach, and you still can get tremendous value from getting your questions answered and knowing where to go to do the homework. I see coaching and investing in coaching as the shortest distance between 2 points, right? Like if I want to know the vendor, then I'm going to hire someone that's used the vendor, right? If I want to know the easiest way to get through the steps, you know what I mean? I'm going to hire someone that's already gone through that, and therefore I'll make my learning curve shorter. See, the heart stopped when I start. See, when I go there, and then the heart stopped. I'm trying to figure out, why is this piece of, oh no, thank you guys, all right? See, I had to call you guys out. I had to call you out because that's what happens. But if you're ever considering going with a printer, ask them to send you copies of their books in different sizes, so you get a sense of the quality of their work, the quality of their printing. So that's the only way you really know. And I do that, and I get all my clients to do that as well. All right. Are there any questions for me? Core Moms and the Periscope Scribe, just joking. That's right. My Periscope Scribe is Nicole. We are sisters from another mother and father. We've met here on Periscope, and what we realize is that we have a lot in common. So, and you know what, Nicole, you are just great, because she always takes the notes for my scopes, and I didn't ask her to do it, right? She's totally what we call a go-giver, and I appreciate her for that. You guys need to follow her, because she rocks, right? We all want to have people in our life who are go-givers, who don't talk the talk. Nicole is not in Core Moms yet. We have had the conversation. She is interested in Core Moms. We're not pressuring you, Nicole. And she's thinking about it. Oh, man, Camille's on you. Camille is in Core Moms, and so is Samira, our Core Mom coaching clients. And Nicole is coming. She is coming, right, Nicole? But we have talked about doing an event in Orlando, so I'm excited about that, right? Nicole, every call, they're on you, Nicole. Nicole. Not yet. I'm coming. Yes, I am. Speak for yourself. Yes, you are. Oh, I think that's funny, right? Okay. Are there any other questions for me, for those of you guys who are self-publishing your book, or who have a book that's coming out? Any questions for me that I can support you with about the self-publishing process that I didn't answer? I wish Carl was on this scope, because he's the reason I did it. They're calling me out. I know. And that's just the beginning. Okay. And you would totally fit. And I'm excited to work with you in 2016. So we know it'll happen, right? Oh, man, Nicole, man. Oh, man, it's tough. All right. So I'm Mia Redrick, the mom strategist. I support moms of life and business success. And you can see I have a lot of fun.